to reinforce European capacity to deal with technology theft and cybersecurity threats, and we look forward to the Commission's recommendation on the security of 5G networks. We also discussed the priorities for next month's summit with China. Our aim is to focus on achieving a balanced relation which ensures fair competition and equal market access. In this context, we hope to persuade China to include industrial subsidies as a crucial element of the WTO reform. Additionally, leaders were univocal in their determination to tackle climate change with urgency and ambition. Our ministers will intensify work on the EU's climate strategy to implement the goals set down by the Paris Agreement. We will come back to this issue in June. As regards Brexit, the European Council formalised last night's decisions by the EU 27 and the UK to delay the cleavage and allow for an extension. Personally, I am really happy about this development. As I said yesterday, it means that until the 12th of April, anything is possible. A deal, a long extension, if the UK decided to rethink its strategy, or revoking Article 50, which is a prerogative of the UK government. The fate of Brexit is in the hands of our British friends. We are, as the EU, we are prepared for the worst, but hope for the best. As you know, hope dies last. Thank you.
Thank you. And now President Juncker of the European Commission.
Oui, Monsieur le Président, mes chers amis.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, President and my dear friends, we didn't just talk about the United Kingdom, we talked about China as well. And it was much more easy to talk about China than it was to talk about the United Kingdom, I have to say. Not that China is asking to join the European Union, but it's because it's not leaving the European Union. Our relations with China are, yes, well, how shall I put it? They're good relations, not excellent. China is a competitor, a partner, a rival. And we need to adjust to this change in international relations. Trade between China and the EU is asymmetrical, and anything that's asymmetrical leads to imbalances. We can't create something stable on the basis of something that continues to be imbalanced. We don't have the reciprocity that we need in our trade relations with China. And competition between China and the European Union is not fair, which is why we want to conclude an agreement on investments with China. This is something that we've been discussing for some time. I believe this week I discussed this with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in China, and I will be discussing this on Tuesday morning next week. In Paris, President Macron has invited China. There'll be Germany, Angela Merkel as well, and I think that this will be a way of preparing for the summit with China and reaching out to public opinion. Chinese markets are not sufficiently open to European products. Chinese markets exclude us to a great extent. China is able to take part in public procurement in Europe. It would be good if Europe could do the same in China. And this is not a minor thing. It's 2.4 billion that are accessible to companies outside the European Union. But out of the the 8 billion. The European Union it only has access to 10 billion, so there's a lot of work to be done, which means that there was an initial proposal in 2012, and then a proposal was made for international procurement. I talked about this with heads of state and government this morning. Something else that's very important is a new framework for investment screening. This is a very important instrument which will mean that Europe has an economy that is open, but at the same time has the checks and balances in place to ensure that the same checks and balances, to ensure that we are on a level playing field between all of the competitors on our market. Now, this screening mechanism is to enter into force on the 1st of April, I believe, this year. And if we had had this mechanism in place, we could have covered 83% of Chinese foreign direct investment in 2018. So this is a major issue. Now, I can see that you're impressed, but you won't. But I suppose that you won't be for long.
I open the floor for questions. I think Christian was the first. Please, sir.
Oui, bonjour, Christian Spielmann de l'AFP. Vous avez parlé. Yes, thank you. Earlier on, you talked about 5G security. You said that you're going to be meeting the Chinese fairly soon. Do you think that Huawei should be banned from the 5G and telecom markets in Europe? Or do you not share the same vision as the United States? And then another question. Could you talk about things just like that at the end of a summit? Why did you take so little to discuss an issue like this that's so important to citizens? Dear friend, disinformation, rumors, I mean, I think it's a rumor to say that we discussed this information just at the end of the meeting. No, I think there's a whole process that feeds into our meetings. And it takes months to do the work to lead up to our summit. And because of that work, we managed to reach an agreement very quickly on the text on disinformation. Now, as said, I met the Chinese minister recently, and oddly enough, he didn't mention 5G, and oddly enough, I didn't mention 5G, because the Commission is in the process of drawing up a communication which will be submitted for your perusal in 15 days.
Thank you. And the next question goes to the gentleman here in the first row, in the middle. Mark.
It's always the same, huh? How is that possible?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, I have never met him.
Yeah. He's unknown in this room.
We've met. Gentleman, Mark Stone from Sky News. You seemed, and you still seem, in fact, almost giddy at the result that you came up with last night on Brexit. But essentially, you have simply kicked the can down the road again. Given the pattern that we see from Westminster, are the chances not still just as high of being on the eve of no deal on the 11th of April? And a second question, if I may. You've celebrated the 25th anniversary of the European Economic Area today. Do you expect you'll celebrate the 26th birthday with the UK present?
The road the cannon has in perspective is a very short one.
Yeah, I think we are not the best address for this question. You know, we were. And we will be also really determined to achieve the best possible deal. But almost everything is now in the hands of the British Parliament and Theresa May's government.
But you'd like the UK to be there?
I think that you know my position. I am more pro-British than you, I think.
Thank you. And the next question goes to the lady on our right, Gabriela.
Thank you, Gabriela Baczynska, Reuters. Sorry to be asking you a question about an issue that was not directly on your agenda, but the world doesn't stop when EU summits take place. It's about Golan Heights and US President Donald Trump's declaration that he wants to recognize the sovereignty of Israel over the territory. It looks like it's a statement that would mark a sharp change of policy from the US on this delicate issue and in the middle of a political campaign in Israel. So where does the EU stand, and does it change the EU's position in any way? Thank you.
We didn't discuss this today, but because the EU's position is well known and has not changed, this is why it wasn't a topic for our today's discussion.
I think that Mrs. Mogherini has issued a statement related to this Golan issue. You can refer to that.
That's great. And then a very last question. I think, David, I had you. The gentleman here in the middle.
Thanks. David Herzenhorn with Politico. I was struck by for both presidents, by your comparison to the discussions about China and the discussions about the UK, both potential partners but also potential rivals in the future. And I wonder if you could talk to us a little about, is the EU tough enough to handle these rivalries, or put another way, does China respect investment screening or naval ships in the South China Sea?
It's maybe more for Jean-Claude. I am mentally not able to treat today equally the UK and China. You know, it's and for me, the UK is still a member of our family, not a rival.
By the way, I didn't compare China to Britain, but I'm admiring your sense of humor.
Thank you. This concludes the press conference.
Yeah. Which ensures fair competition until the 12th of April. Anything is possible. A deal, a long extension, if the UK decided to rethink its strategy, or revoking Article 50, which is a prerogative of subsidies as a crucial element of the WTO reform. Additionally, leaders were dice last. Thank you.
Thank you. And now President Juncker of the European Commission.
Commerciaux et la concurrence qu'il y a entre la Chine et l'Europe ne se fait pas sur un pied d'égalité. Raison pour laquelle nous voudrions pouvoir conclure que probablement le secrétaire général de l'ONU et le président de la Commission, ce qui nous donne en français, c'est un instrument important qui fera